I'm busy.
And if you go near my daughter again, I will kill you and your entire inbred family.
What is it, Cougar Mama? Are you a screamer? A moaner? Are you dead?
What the hell?
Get up.
All right.
Get up. Yeah, I'm just
Call
getting
the
started.
cops!
I know what you must be thinking. Where nobody will ever find me. I knew you would hurt my daughter, and I knew that I would then have to kill you.
Like a single night in New York, a young woman named Hazel quietly slipped into lingerie and touched up her makeup. She met her one-night stand, the man whose throat she had already carefully slit. She wiped the blood from his mouth, cleaned every fingerprint from his body, and left the hotel room without a trace. 20 years later, Hazel runs a small, quiet diner, serving the same bland customers every day. No one suspects that the polite woman behind the counter carries a dark and lethal past when the police stop by. Hazel always discreetly waived their bill. Her teenage daughter, Joy, noticed this and eventually asked why. Hazel explained that staying on the police's good side mattered. If something serious ever happened, she needed them to respond fast. She couldn't afford to be on their bad side. As they talked, Hazel suddenly noticed Joy's boyfriend sitting at a table and made it clear she disapproved, knowing her mother would never accept him. Joy made a bold request. She begged Hazel to give her all of her college savings so she could leave Las Vegas and start a new life with him. Hazel immediately shut the idea down, scolding Joy for acting impulsively and refusing to hand over the savings. She reminded her daughter that she had built her own life from nothing and expected Joy to do the same. Convinced the boyfriend was a bad influence, Hazel urged her to break up with him, but Joy insisted he was a good man. The discussion escalated into a heated argument, ending with Joy defiantly declaring she would move out and begin a new life with him. Joy's boyfriend, like many people his age, had no money for college and lived more on impulse and dreams than careful planning. That same day, while serving a male customer, Joy realized he couldn't pay. After he finished his meal without offering any money, she lost her temper. Certain she'd been tricked, Hazel stepped in to calm things down. The man admitted he was homeless and unable to pay. Instead of sending him away, Hazel offered him a job washing dishes and a temporary place to stay. After glancing around the room, he introduced himself as Elliot. Meanwhile, Joy's boyfriend kept pressuring her for money so they could move out. When she told him to handle it himself, he pushed harder, insisting they use her college savings. The next day, while chatting with regular customers, Hazel saw Joy walk in wearing sunglasses that hid most of her face. Instantly sensing something was wrong, she ended the conversation and rushed over. Joy tried to pass by, but Hazel removed the sunglasses and froze when she saw a dark bruise around her eye. Joy admitted her boyfriend was responsible, but begged Hazel not to seek revenge, warning that his family was dangerous. Hazel's anger drowned out her words. She said nothing. She went home, changed into a bold, striking dress, and grabbed the gun hidden beneath her bed. Meanwhile, Joy's boyfriend laughed and joked with a friend at an auto shop, completely carefree and unaware Hazel was coming. Hazel stormed into the shop and demanded to speak with him alone. He refused and mocked her in front of his friend. Without hesitation, Hazel punched him in the face, making him stumble, then kicked him hard, knocking him down. When the mechanic tried to intervene, Hazel sprayed him with pepper spray, leaving him disoriented. Blood streamed down Joy's boyfriend's face as Hazel pulled out her gun and ordered him to get up. When he refused, she fired a warning shot near his ear. He was terrified. He had no choice but to comply, muttering about his possibly broken nose as he stumbled after her into the parking lot. Hazel snatched his phone and tossed it aside, forced him into the control booth, and bound him tightly with duct tape. Then, she drove deep into the Vegas desert with her daughter's boyfriend tied in the back. Hours later, at a remote spot, she dragged him out and led him to a shallow grave. She had already dug it. Without a word, she shoved him inside, revealing she'd prepared the grave. The very day she first met him, knowing he would eventually hurt her daughter. Then she pulled the trigger, turned away, and walked off, leaving his body in the pit. The next morning, without looking back, Joy kept texting her boyfriend but got no reply. Worried, she confronted Hazel about his disappearance. Hazel remained calm and lied, saying they had argued and he'd chosen to leave the city on his own. Joy didn't believe her. She warned that her boyfriend's family were dangerous criminals who wouldn't hesitate to seek revenge if anything had happened to him. They would hunt down whoever was responsible. Hazel stayed calm. Furious, Joy stormed out. Elliot came over to comfort Hazel. Soon, they noticed a suspicious man taking photos from a distance. Hazel ran to confront him, but he fled without a word. When she returned, Elliot was tense in the kitchen, lost in thought. Seeing her, he tried to act normal, as if nothing had happened. That night, Elliot woke from a nightmare and quietly began packing, hoping to leave unnoticed. Hazel stopped him, asking about the man taking photos. He claimed he knew nothing, but his uneasy expression said otherwise. When Hazel pressed him about his past, Elliot agreed to talk on one condition. She had to share her story, too. Hazel refused. They parted ways after Elliot left. Later, Hazel spotted the same man watching from afar again, snapping photos. When he finally drove off, she followed him to a remote motel. There, she broke into his room and knocked him out. When he came to, he saw Hazel pointing a gun at him. Under pressure, he confessed he was a freelance journalist investigating Elliot. He claimed Elliot had killed someone and was now on the run. He showed Hazel his laptop, filled with evidence. In the room, Hazel found a news article about Elliot. He had once been a renowned heart surgeon, but his career ended after a drunk driving accident that killed his girlfriend. He served 4 years in prison and had only recently been released after learning the truth. Hazel took the reporter's laptop and left, warning him never to return. Life soon went back to normal. Hazel resumed her daily routine, serving regulars as if nothing had happened. That day, Hazel found Joy in tears, still unable to reach her boyfriend. She tried to comfort her, but Joy shoved her away and stormed out. Hazel followed her outside. Joy ran into Phil, a former co-worker, who told her their old boss had just been released from prison. The news sent a cold chill through Hazel. She knew exactly why he was back. He asked to meet the next day, and she agreed. Back at the diner, he suddenly mentioned Joy, praising Hazel for raising her so well. Beneath the compliment was a thinly veiled threat that enraged Hazel. The next morning at breakfast, Hazel told Elliot about the journalist and showed him the documents she'd found. Faced with the evidence, Elliot admitted he had once operated on the reporter's father, but the surgery had failed. Since then, the reporter had held a grudge and was trying to destroy Elliot's reputation by resurfacing the accident that killed his girlfriend. After hearing everything, Hazel didn't hesitate. She asked Elliot to help deal with the man threatening them and begged him to watch Joy for one night. She needed to leave the city to handle something important. Uneasy, Elliot agreed. That evening, Hazel met Phil as planned. He took her to their former boss, who was thrilled to see her after 20 years. He reminisced about meeting her at 15 and training her to become a top assassin. Then, he revealed the real reason for the meeting. He wanted Hazel back on the job. The target was a client named Perry, and he offered a generous advance. Hazel refused, insisting she could never return to that life, even if she still owed him. Realizing she wouldn't give in, the boss changed tactics, making veiled threats about her daughter and hinting he knew about Joy's boyfriend's disappearance. The message was clear. Leaving the past behind wouldn't be easy. Recognizing the danger, Hazel reluctantly agreed to take the job that night. She went to the casino to observe Perry, then returned home and shared drinks with Elliot. As the alcohol lowered her guard, she opened up about her past addiction and how she had been rescued, trained, and turned into a weapon. The night ended with an intimate moment. The next morning, Hazel told Elliot she'd be leaving that night and asked him to look after Joy. He agreed and dressed to impress that evening. Hazel returned to the casino, pretending it was a casual encounter. She caught Perry off guard and quickly gained his interest. He invited her to his private suite, where they spent the evening talking and reminiscing. As Perry finished his drink, Hazel offered to pour another, quietly slipping something into the glass while he wasn't looking. But before he could drink it, he brought up the relationship that had ended 20 years earlier. He admitted he still had feelings for her and hoped they could start over. Hazel was shaken by the confession. As Perry raised the glass, Hazel took it away and kissed him to distract him. A knock at the door interrupted them, giving her time to hide the drink. They continued kissing and agreed to meet again. Hazel returned to the diner, slipping back into routine, while Elliot quietly kept washing dishes. Hazel didn't know Elliot was actually an undercover agent working for her former boss. He'd accepted the assignment to monitor her before ever arriving at the diner. One day, a police officer mentioned that teenage girls were going missing in the area. When Hazel asked her cook about it, he said he knew nothing. The officer reminded her to report anything suspicious. Soon after, Phil arrived and warned Hazel that Perry was preparing to leave town. If she planned to act, it had to be now. Seeing her hesitate, he reminded her that failure could put Joy in danger. Frustrated, Hazel walked away while Elliot tried to comfort her. With a heavy heart, Hazel asked him to watch Joy, knowing she'd have to leave again soon. Even as Elliot held her, Hazel stayed distant. Moments later, he quietly walked away and texted the boss, confirming Hazel would act that night. Later, Hazel slipped into Joy's room to check on her one last time. Hazel told Elliot she had to leave for work. He tried to stop her, but she refused, determined to finish what she'd started. As soon as she left, Elliot called the boss. Meanwhile, Hazel reached the hotel, loaded her gun, and entered the elevator to confront Perry. At that same moment, Perry received a mysterious package containing a photo of Joy. The sight froze him. He realized Joy was his daughter, born from his relationship with Hazel. 20 years earlier, the truth hit him all over again. Perry was caught off guard when his wife suddenly entered the room, thinking fast. He claimed the setup was for a romantic date night. Meanwhile, Hazel changed course and broke into the boss's hideout. After silently taking down a guard, the boss ordered Phil to stop her via surveillance. Before Phil could react, Hazel ambushed and knocked him out. Hazel advanced where the boss was armed and waiting, anticipating her move. She shot him in the arm. Wounded, he tried to manipulate her by revealing Elliot had been working for him all along. Hazel stayed calm, said she no longer belonged to his world, and pulled the trigger, calling him father. He was her biological father. Hazel returned home, still covered in blood. She quietly cleaned herself and checked on her daughter. The next morning, she walked past Elliot without responding to his greeting, leaving him confused by her sudden coldness. As Hazel was about to start her shift, Joy hugged her briefly and stepped outside. Moments later, Hazel heard a strange sound behind her. She turned and was shocked to see her boyfriend, bloody but alive. He gestured for silence. Hazel nodded. Later, Joy asked to borrow the car. Hazel handed her the keys and went back to work. Suddenly, Hazel noticed the chef was gone and stepped outside. She was horrified to see a stranger attacking him. She rushed to help. As Hazel fought off one attacker, another man tried to grab a teenage girl. But when he saw Hazel, he released the girl and charged at her instead. She took him down quickly. Then, a third man suddenly pulled out a gun and fired several shots, leaving Hazel collapsed amid the chaos. The men captured the girls and fled. Elliot ran to Hazel's side, desperately trying to stop the bleeding,